White Sox fans, Alyssa Bergamini, your in-game host for your Chicago White Sox, and you are watching the best podcast on the south side of Chicago, South Burbs Hitmen. Make sure to tune in.
You're listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the South Burbs Hitmen podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, Zim Zimmerman, Vinnie Parise, and Chris Gonzalez. We're bringing you the White Sox coverage you need from the perspective of true Southsiders. Grab your Comiskey dog with an ice cold beer and meet us in section 155. Everyone get on your feet for your South Burbs Hitmen.
That ball hit deep. Way back. You can put it on the board. Yes. Jimenez in the air. Left field. He's your hero tonight. Thanks, Cubs.
Over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws. Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
Alexei! Yes! 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 History! A perfect game by Mark Burley, and what an unbelievable play by Dwayne Wise.
First pitch starts now.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to South Burbs Hitmen. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mandel. I'm joined by my White Sox brothers in arms. I'm talking to Vinnie Parise, Zim Zimmerman, and Chris Gonzalez couldn't be with us tonight, but he's always here in spirit. Gentlemen, before we even get going, we got a great guest tonight. We've been trying to get him for a while. We finally got him to come on the show. As everyone knows, Alyssa Bergamini is three-time guest on the show. We have her new in-stadium co-host with us, Ryan Lee, joining us on the show. So, gentlemen, Zim and Vinny, join me in welcoming Ryan to the show. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us tonight, man.
What's up, guys? Thank you for finally having me. I'm so glad to be on here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're so happy to have you. I'll do brief introductions. I'm Joe Mandel. We got Vinnie Parise and Zim Zimmerman. Ryan, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
No problem. I'm excited to talk with you guys. I've heard nothing but great things from Alyssa, so I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for coming on.
It's high praise. We appreciate that. Everyone's excited to have you here in the chat. Everyone's, a little fired up. So Justin's another Lee, Justin Lee's favorite day of the week. So, look at that. So we're so excited to have you, Ryan. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming one of the in-stadium hosts for the White Sox? We know you're a producer and personality over at KISS FM. Tell us about how you got here, how you want to grow, and let the fans know who you are as a person.
Absolutely. So I am I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we moved here to Chicago when I was 3 years old. So I consider Chicago home. I'm from the south suburbs, Orland Park. And for the longest, I knew I wanted to be in this industry of broadcasting, radio, television, hosting. And that's where I ended up at iHeartMedia Chicago, where I serve as the executive producer for the WGCI morning show. And then Monday through Friday, I'm on KISS FM from 12 to 5 a.m. So I've been doing that I've been in radio for 7 years now. I've been with iHeart for 5 years. And then, I love radio, but I also was looking to expand the brand. And I heard that this MC in-game host position was opening up with the White Sox. And, being from the south suburbs of Orland Park, I grew up going to the baseball games. I grew up a Sox fan. It's the only team that I recognize here in Chicago when it comes to baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking forward to, mixing that with my broadcasting experience with hosting. And then, honestly, I was excited for this position because when I grew up going to the games, I liked watching the game. But I'm going to be honest, my favorite part was like the food and like mapping out in my head, what am I going to get when I go to the game? And like in between contests. So I was like, it's full circle now that I'm in this position doing that and talking about that with fans. So I'm really looking forward to being there with the family, with the White Sox family. It's been a great time so far. I feel like now I'm kind of starting to get the swing of things and get the hang of everything, but it's been a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to just growing with the White Sox. It's a great organization, a great family base. Everybody there has been so welcoming, from the people who work there, my co-host, Alyssa, my bosses, the fans. Everybody has been super welcoming. And I think that just is a testament to the South Side of Chicago, honestly.
Oh, absolutely, man. Us Southsiders, as you know from being a fan previously, we know how to party, we know how to have a good time, and you get to experience that all the time over there at the rate. But as you mentioned, your co-host Alyssa told us, and you just mentioned you're from Orland Park.
Right.
Since we're the South Burbs Hitmen, what's your favorite spot to hang out in the Orland, Tinley, South Burb area? Do you have a spot you like to hang? Is there a bar? Is there a restaurant?
Yeah, no, there was a bar. It's like in Tinley. I think it's on 183rd. It was called Durbin's. I think it's still there.
Still there.
Durbin's before COVID was the spot that I used to hang out a lot. Orland has like a good outside restaurants on LaGrange and stuff. So I like to do that. But Durbin's was definitely a bar. Black Sheep used to be on 159th. I used to be over there too.
R.I.P.
RIP to Black Sheep. Orland has a few good spots to hang out and chill, whatever. Like, we're still friends that live here from high school.
No, that's awesome, man. As being the in-stadium host, you get to see all the cool theme nights, right? So, you've been a part of a good chunk of them so far. Most notably, we have a photo here of you from Southpaw's birthday. Let me see if I can pull that up right here. There you go.
That is it. Yes.
There you go. And of course, Southpaw getting inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame, always big stuff. But, big round of applause to Southpaw. I think we can all say well-deserved there. But with all the theme nights, I'm curious, out of all the ones you've experienced so far, what is your favorite? And then what's the one you're looking forward to the most?
Favorite, I gotta say, we did Lollapalooza. I did that one this past weekend, last weekend, and Lollapalooza was super fun. Like, we gave away 4-day passes, which I thought was like crazy.
Big money, yeah.
I mean, the fact that I was able to surprise like 20 lucky fans with 4-day Lollapalooza passes was insane. And then it ended with the fireworks to music of artists that were going to be playing at Lollapalooza. So I thought that was super cool. I also really like Family Day. I feel like I remember going to Family Day when I was with family and stuff like that. And then also I remember this crew neck is actually one of the ones that we gave away at like one of the first Family Days that I did hosting. So that was a lot of fun. Honestly, for me, one of my favorite parts about it, though, I don't know if we consider a theme, is just whenever we have the fireworks at the end of the night, I love going out on the field, telling fans, like, hold on, just don't leave yet. In a few minutes, we're going to have the post-game fireworks show. And then it's something about the fireworks on the south side with the playlist that's blasting. Literally the other night, I was telling my boss, I was like, this right here is just Chicago. And I think that's what I look forward to. Yeah, like when I know it's a firework night, I'm like, that is Chicago. So I remember driving, if I wasn't at the game, and you could see the fireworks on the expressway. So that's what I look forward to. But no, Lollapalooza night last weekend, that was a lot of fun.
Dude, that's awesome. And I know one of the biggest theme nights of the year that everyone goes all out for, and I'm sure you're going to be excited for, You got Elvis Night coming up here soon.
Yes.
The new Elvis movie just dropped.
Yes.
You're going to be wearing the sunglasses and all that jazz, right? Are you going to get a jumpsuit and everything or what?
From what I've heard, I may be in a full Elvis costume.
Yes.
I don't know. It may be some surprises. I'm excited for that, though. Like, I love that White Sox fans, no matter what the theme is, we go all out. And, like, the moment we get fans, then we see them all dressed up, like when there was Hawaiian Night and everybody had on the shirt. Like, that's what I think I just love, that it's just not a baseball game. It's like we all go all out for the theme. So, Elvis, yeah, I may have to have the sideburns, and I may have to do the whole jumpsuit. I have to. It's my first year hosting.
Dude, yeah, you'll never experience an Elvis. Other parks do it, but there's nothing like a Southside Elvis night where you get like 30 dudes sitting together in the stands, all in the Elvis jumpsuit. It's just something about it, man.
It's so crazy. A few years back, I went to the White Sox game with my friends, and I don't think none of us knew that it was actually Elvis night. And then when we got there and we're walking in and we see so many people dressed up like Elvis, that's when we realized, like, yo, it's a full Elvis night tonight. And you're right. Everybody went all out, and it was so much fun. But, yeah, so it's crazy now. I'm going to be a part of it. I'll be dressed up as Elvis probably.
Yeah, man, it's got to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to toss you over the fence to my co-host, Vinnie Parise. Vincenzo, take it away, my friend. What do you got for Ryan?
First of all, Ryan, congratulations on this gig, man.
Dude.
I mean, how exciting. How exciting.
I appreciate that.
You get to work at Guaranteed Rate Field for a Major League Baseball stadium. You got Alyssa as your partner. Like, that is sick, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you.
Honestly, I just don't think it's fully, I tell people, I don't think it's fully hit me yet. You know, growing up here for the past 20 years and being a Sox fan and being a Chicago sports fan in general, it's only a dream to wish to be a part of it. And not only that, but to be on field and to be able to get the fans hype and to be with Alyssa as my co-host, it's a dream, honestly. It's literally a dream come true that I don't think has hit me yet.
I love to hear it. I'm so happy for you. So you brought up that you went to White Sox games with your buddies back in the day. Like, you were there as a fan many times before landing this job. Have you ever been to a different Major League Baseball stadium and caught the vibes there? If you have, did you enjoy it? Or is there one out there that you really want to take a visit to so you can maybe like see what they do, maybe, you know, learn a thing or two, what you guys can bring over to Guaranteed Rate Field? Like, hey, they do this
Right.
cool, or hey, I don't like that about them. Let's change this. Like, you know, has anything like that ever happened?
Right. I haven't been to another one. I have been in the Wrigley area, but I have not been to a Wrigley game. But for me, I actually really want to go to like a Yankee stadium or like a historic team, or like Boston, like somebody that has like a historic team, just to see how they do it. I know I've been to like a Bulls game in between the White Sox season when it was kind of like that crossover. We were getting ready to start the White Sox and Bulls were still playing. And I noticed that all my attention went to the in-game host, and I just wanted to see what they did, what type of activities they did, how did they get the crowd going. So I do now think I'll be looking more into that as I go to games. Like, I may not watch the same as before, but definitely probably would love to go to a Yankees or like a LA Dodgers. I have family out in LA, so I would love to go to like a Dodgers game. Some of those historic teams that we all know and love have been around for a long time, just like the Chicago White Sox, just to see like how do they operate versus what we do. Because honestly, and I could be biased, but it's something about the realness that the South Side at Guaranteed Rate has and that family vibe that I'm curious to see if other stadiums have it as well.
Absolutely. And so you also have, you know, the gig with Kiss FM and doing all that kind of stuff. We have a couple music guys on the show. I got to ask you, because I'm a big music guy myself.
Okay.
What's your favorite type of music to pump out? Do you have any influence on that at the stadium? What's going on in your music world?
You know, I'm all over the place. I got to be honest. If you look at my workout playlist, I'm going from top 40s to punk rock to hip hop to gospel. Like, I'm all over the place when it comes to music. That's what I think I love working at iHeartRadio. We literally have all the stations. So I could be in Light FM studio one day. I could be hanging out in GCI. Then I'm back in Kiss FM. There's so much new music out. I will say that. So right now my radar is on, I know Cardi B is dropping a new song and it has Kanye West on it. I know Giveon just dropped a brand new album last week, I believe. So there's so much new music out. I think with summer being around, a lot of artists are going on tour right now. So right now, musically, I think I'm just enjoying all these summer songs. Like, I feel like every time I'm doing my Kiss FM show, I'm like, yo, I got new music. Yo, I got new music. And there's a lot of collabs that I think we're not expecting, like Pitbull and Zach Brown have a song out right now, and Post Malone and Doja Cat have a song out right now. So I think there's also like a lot of collabs that it's like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen, but I like it. So I'm excited.
I kind of wish that was something that happened back in the day. Like, I wish you would have got like, Led Zeppelin to do something with the Beatles or something back in the day. Yeah, that would have been cool. I like that artists are doing now. But before I toss you over to Zim, I'm curious, has there been a moment so far this season where you're, doing the game at the field and you're like, wow, pinch me, I'm in this situation? Like, it could be something as simple as celebrating with the fans after the walk-off over the Yankees, or a certain theme night that just got you pumped up. Like, pinch me, I can't believe I'm here right now.
I was saying in another interview, I think that hit for me, it was the first night of the first game my parents were able to come to the game, and they were able to see me live in action. It was actually a family Sunday. It was my first like big theme. And the first month or two, it wasn't as crowded in the field. Cold out, school was still in session, but this was like the first Sunday game that I was like, oh, there's a lot of people here. Oh, like the fans are crowded this Sunday. Okay. But to have my parents up there and, they've seen how much I worked hard for this career and worked hard for this job. And they remember too, when we used to go to the games when I was a kid. So for them to be there to watch me and us talking about it after, I think that was the moment, honestly, that it hit me like, this is my reality now. Like, of course, the energy of the fans is crazy. I love meeting the fans too, and they're like, "Hey, you're on the screen," and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" Like, and learning that it's their birthday or maybe their first time at a White Sox game. I love that part. But I think for me personally, it hit that Sunday at the game. I think I'll never forget that when my parents were right there watching, and I was like, "Yo, this is my reality."
That's cool. I love hearing that. The fact that it has like a personal tie to you and your family. Congratulations to you. I'm very excited. I'm going to hand you over to Steven Zim Zimmerman. I know he's got some insane questions for you, but thanks again for coming on our show. I'm so happy for you and all the success so far.
No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. No, seriously, thank you, Ryan. Like, from all three of us, this has been awesome. I'm so glad that I get to keep it going with you. And just something about White Sox Stadium hosts. You guys are awesome on our show. So feel free to come back anytime. I think I speak for all three of us when I say that. It might be preemptive, but we'll go through this last round here. I know you said you grew up a Sox fan. I'm just curious, like, who some of your favorite players were, and like if this stadium host job has afforded you the opportunity to kind of get to meet some of those guys, maybe get some of these surreal moments that you never thought you had. You have any cool stories like that?
No, so definitely I got to shout out Frank Thomas, amazing White Sox.
Big Hurt, baby.
Got to shout him out. Also, coming up in this, I was a big Tim Anderson fan. I got to show love right now. Dylan Cease has been killing it. So, got to say, he's a big one that I've been watching. I haven't got to interact with some of the players yet, and I'm excited for that part because I know Alyssa has talked to me about it, some of the things that she's done with them in the past, and we've done a few games and stuff with them. So I'm looking forward to that because I think it's like one thing that I've noticed about the players, they're all like good guys. You know what I mean? Like they're not standoffish. They're always down there taking pictures and ready to meet the fans. So I think that's super dope too, that it's a team that they incorporate what the Southside fans give to them. So I'm actually looking forward to working with them just so I can feel that same energy because I think it's a different experience when you actually get to meet them and work with them. But those are some of the ones that I've been looking forward to meeting and working with.
That's awesome, man. I like putting myself in your shoes. Like I would be on edge waiting for that day to come along. Like I'm so excited for you on your behalf, man. Like that's so cool. But you used a great word there, energy, the energy that it brings. I'm curious what the energy's been like for you at the stadium this year. Like, I know it kind of been a little underwhelming, but going from the fans' perspective to on field, like, does that kind of change the vibe and the feel for you, or is it still that same energy that you're used to at the rate?
I got to say this because we thought we were going to come in stronger, right? And we've gone through some challenges, some ups and downs, right? One of the things that I've learned that has stayed consistent though, is each day, each game, the fans have come in with the energy on 10. Like, we may have not done good yesterday, but we're about to come back and we're going to go even harder today. And that's one of the things that I love about Chicago sports in general. We are passionate about our teams, but specifically talking about the White Sox. So I've noticed on days that, the day before it may not have been good, and I was like, I wonder how today's going to be. Maybe I'm going to have to work a little harder to get the fans into it. And then by the moment that I park and I see everybody tailgating hours before the game, I'm like, oh no, they're ready. We're good to go.
Always.
It's like, we're good to go. And then once the game gets going, all it takes is those few first runs and hits to get us going. That it's like the energy in Guaranteed Rate Field is crazy. I know there was one game in particular. I remember we were down the whole game and then it got to the 8th inning and we just started coming back and we really were like, yo, we're trying to win this. And the energy, I was just looking through the broadcast room like, yo, this is crazy. And you feel that when we're going to do a camera hit, it's like I feel that same energy. Or even the fan, we're watching before we go live on camera. And me and the fan are like high-fiving, going crazy because our team is doing good. So I think the energy in Guaranteed Rate Field, like you really just have to experience it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing that I can tell you about. But from the moment that people are there tailgating, even when it was cold outside and people are still out there hanging out, getting ready for the game, especially if it's a theme night, the energy is crazy, man. I love it.
That's so great to hear. Little context, I'm 1,000 miles away. I'm in Denver. So I got the opportunity to go to a few games last year. It was awesome. I'm glad to hear that it's keeping up. I know these two guys can tell me all about it, but I'm a little more inclined to believe your opinion on it. I get to go to my first game this year in a few weeks, though. I'm going to go see them when they come to Colorado. So
that's dope. Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that, but I'll bring this whole thing full circle. One of the first things you talked about was the food at the stadium.
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the three of us like to eat. So I'm just curious.
I'm fighting mine right now. You just see my face. Don't worry.
I'm just curious what some of your favorite items at the park are. Like, I love the Polishes. I know that Joe and Vinny are huge on the Cuban sandwiches. Yeah. And I think the highlight of Joe's year was when they announced that the rainbow cones were coming back. So I'm just curious, some of the things that you like at the stadium. What's like your highlight? What's your go-to when you're like, that's what I need today?
Okay, I got two things. I got to shout out Joe because when I first got my scripts and I learned that the rainbow cone was coming back, I was like, oh, Chicago is about to love this. Like, that is Chicago all day. So to have the rainbow
to a T.
To a T. So that's been a huge success. I love a good ballpark hot dog. Now, I may not be in Chicago in this sense. I only like my hot dog with ketchup on it, though.
No big deal.
And a lot of my coworkers, when I told them that, were looking at me like, Ryan, don't say that in public. But but I do just like my hot dog with ketchup on it. But also, we have these new smoked wings at the ballpark that are super good, and like they have like a barbecue sauce that go with them. Fire!
Ooh.
Like, and I love a good wing. So the smoked wings, I really do love. I also, because just being from Chicago, one of my favorite things is Garrett's popcorn. So I personally love that we have a whole Garrett's popcorn stand now. And of course, you cannot go wrong with the loaded nacho helmet. Big nachos guy over here. So whenever I see a fan like eating them and I'm about to do a camera hit, I really want to be like, yo, can I have some of your nachos?
Yeah, right.
But I'm trying to get ready for the camera hit. But no, I mean, I think we all can say now, I haven't been to any other stadiums, but I will put money that Guaranteed Rate Field has like some of the best food when it comes to
I've been to 4 or 5 stadiums, and I will say the Rate has the best food of the few that I've been to. Yes. So absolutely. No, thank you so much, Ryan. This has been absolutely awesome. I'll let Joe close you out here. But like I said, hopefully I'm still on board to have you back anytime you want, man.
No, hopefully you guys can have me back. This was so much fun. Alyssa has told me so many great things about you guys. Hey, shout out to Alyssa. Yeah, she told me so many great things. So I was excited to finally be able to get on and be able to chat with you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. You guys have been very supportive on Twitter and social media since day one.
For sure, man. Yeah,
I really appreciate that love.
Yeah, we're always in your corner. And, you mentioned Alyssa. Before we let you go, we got to ask you, do you have a best Alyssa story that you can share on camera? Because, and also, can you believe she's never seen Star Wars?
Okay, me and Alyssa have a lot of things in common, and that is
no. What?
So when I saw the show with Alyssa, I was like, we're kind of similar there. Wow. Funny story, actually. It's a super inside joke, so I'm excited to tell with you guys. The first day I went out with Alyssa unfilled. Like this first day I shadowed her. The second day was my first day. I was going to be on the microphone with Alyssa, and we were going to do the rundown of what was going on at the ballpark. And we went through the script like a million times. It was my first time on microphone. I'm like, all right, listen, I got this. Like, we're going to be good. You ready? And literally we went out there and I did my like first 2 lines, and then my third line completely forgot. And then Alyssa was like, yo, the loaded nacho helmet, right, Ryan? And I was like, yo, you're right, Alyssa. Fans, you got to check out the loaded nacho helmet. So it worked out where she like played it off with me, but now it's an inside joke. Like, hey, Alyssa, what about that loaded nacho helmet? I was so ready. We were like, yo, we got this. We practiced it. And then we went out there, and I think, once again, the energy, all the fans, it was my first time, and I got the first 2 lines down. That third one, Alyssa helped me out. So shout out to Alyssa. She's amazing. Everybody at White Sox loves her, and to shadow her, I was really like, Alyssa makes it look so easy. So
she does.
She's amazing at it. Yeah.
Well, dude, that's awesome, man. I love you sharing some of that insight there. It's always fun. And we're wondering, you saw at the top of the show, we had Alyssa do a station ID for us. So we're wondering if we could ask you to lay one down for us. You could put your own spin on it, whatever, just something along the lines of, this is Ryan Lee, give your spiel, and then say, and you're watching South Burbs Hitmen. Something along those lines, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that right now for you. I got you.
Awesome, man. I'm going to put you in the full screen, and I can just count you down. So we'll give you, I'll count you in. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1, okay. And we'll go from there. So here we go. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, I am Ryan Lee, one of your White Sox in-game hosts, and right now you are checking out my guys on the South Burbs Hitmen podcast.
This dude is a pros pro. Ryan Lee, everybody. One take, Ryan.
Thank you,
knocking it out of the park. Ryan, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what you got going on?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me everywhere at Ryan Media Lee. You can also listen to me every night on Kiss FM 12 to 5 a.m. And then I also produce the WGCI morning show, 6 to 10 a.m. But most importantly, you can catch me now at Guaranteed Rate Field alongside Alyssa Bergamini, cheering on the White Sox as the in-game host. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the game. Hopefully, Steve, you'll be able to make it to Chicago soon, and I'll be able to see you as well. But thank you guys again. This is super dope.
Absolutely, man. Ryan, thanks for giving us so much of your time tonight. Vinny and I will be there July 7th, so we'll see if we can find a way to track you down.
I think I am there that game, so I definitely have to see you guys.
Awesome. We'll link up and get to say hello, maybe take a picture. But Ryan, we cannot thank you enough. Everyone that's watching, go give Ryan a follow. Instagram, Twitter, you know where to find him. Ryan Media Lee. Ryan, you've been an amazing guest. We can't wait to have you back. Fingers crossed, hopefully during the playoff run.
Hey, we are going for it. We are speaking it out there. We are going to be in the playoffs, and we're going to be back talking about playoffs.
That's what I like to hear, man. Let's speak it into existence.
Yes.
Everyone, Ryan Lee. Ryan, we appreciate it, man. Good luck tonight, everything at Kiss FM. And we'll see you at a White Sox game soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Ryan. Appreciate it. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye. Ryan Lee, guys. Absolutely dynamite guest. Go give him a follow at Ryan Media Lee. I didn't want that interview to end, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always nice when someone's able to bring the energy the way that Ryan does. And listen, there's a reason he was chosen. Like he's the one who got pegged in the contest. Like, hey, we think you're going to be good with Alyssa as the in-game host. You're the guy. And then he comes on this show, and it's like, yeah, the White Sox know what they're doing. So it's good stuff. Congrats to him on all the success.
Really, really easy to see why those two are paired up together. I think potentially it would be cool to have them both on for a joint show at some point. I would love to feel that energy going back and forth because they both just bring it.
And that's why I had to get an Alyssa story before we left, see if he had one for us. So that's cool. She's the pros pro, and she's definitely got a good one on her hands. So that's going to be fun to see those two work together over time, hopefully during the playoff run. But we're going to talk it into existence. It wasn't the greatest week of White Sox baseball, guys, but before we get to that, we have a quick commercial break we're going to hop into, and then we're going to dive into the rest of the show. So, gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 45-second commercial break. We will be right back.
And Japan Brisker to me is a guy that plays man better than Adrian Amos, played down in the box like Amos did. He's a little more fluid, a little more instinctive, better ball skills. I mean, that was a big issue with Amos, is that when the ball would come close to his hands, would have a little bit of a drop issue there.
We now return to South Burbs Hitmen.
Yeah, cool stuff, guys. Bare Necessity is coming to the Ballroom Network soon. Check that out once it gets here. It's going to be a fun show with Jordan. But getting back into White Sox talk, gentlemen, a little bit of a rough week. I think that maybe it's a bit of an understatement, but you go take 2 out of 3 from one of the best teams in the AL, and then you lose 3 out of 4 to the Baltimore Orioles. Vinnie Parise, thoughts, because you caught 2 of those ball games in person.
Yeah, so the Jays series had good vibes. Even after the loss, I was like, okay, they were down 9-1. They made it 9-5 late. Like, the offense is coming along. You score 5 runs, you'll win more often than you lose, especially with the White Sox rotation and half of the bullpen. Then the Orioles came to town. And I don't know if you guys, how deeply you follow my Twitter. I've tweeted
a lot.
I tweeted nice things about the Orioles 3 or 4 times.
They got a good squad. They do.
And the guy who runs Birds Watcher, which is the Southside Showdown version of Fansided, like it's the Baltimore Orioles corner of Fansided. He does a wonderful job, explaining what's going on with the Orioles, and they're way better than they were last year. I love when people were saying, oh, the White Sox lost to the Orioles. Yeah, they're in last place of the American League East because the other 4 teams in the division are World Series contenders. The Baltimore Orioles aren't quite there yet, but there's a reason, and they're not as far under 500 as you would probably think, being in a division with 4 teams that are legit World Series contenders. And I'm not giving the White Sox any excuses for losing to them. They should beat the Orioles. They're more talented on paper than the Orioles, but they're a buzzsaw right now. And they came to Chicago. Adley Rutschman made an impact, the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He caught 3 of their 4 games. And the White Sox also were a victim of something that's a problem for them when they're on defense, and that's defense. They have 3 incredibly athletic outfielders, and Jake Berger, Gavin Sheets, Jose Abreu. They all had multiple instances where they hit the gaps with balls that have an expected batting average of like 600 or better, and nothing to show for it. And bad base running, number 1 team in the league, getting thrown out at home. And, you combine some of those things and you lose 3 or 4. And that's exactly what happened. I in no way am done with the White Sox after that 3 game out of 4 loss to the Orioles. It's definitely not good. I'm not in on the White Sox winning the World Series or making it even to the playoffs at this point. But I will say it's a series that they probably win more often than not, but Baltimore's hot. Their defense was on fire, and they took advantage of Giolito didn't pitch, but they took advantage of getting to Lance Lynn a little bit, and a couple of weird decisions by Tony La Russa with the bullpen. But that's kind of my takeaway from this series, is that Baltimore is better than people think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Defensively, they're definitely fantastic. Before we move on, Dylan Cease, Steven Zim Zimmerman was absolutely dealing, no pun intended, yesterday. Stopped the bleeding against the Orioles. The bullpen almost gave it back up, but how good has Dylan Cease been, Zim? And is this guy going to be in the running to be a starter in the All-Star game for the American League?
He'll be in the running. I don't think he'll get it because there's a guy named Shohei Ohtani also in the American League.
He started last year. Remind it.
And it's quite an honor to be selected 2 years in a row. And trust me, baseball would love to give somebody like that the honor. He's the face of the game right now.
They gave our guy that 3 years in a row, except one of the 3 he was with the Red Sox.
Right.
Chris Sale started 3 straight.
Did he really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he started 3 straight. 2 with the White Sox.
Then Ohtani's definitely starting.
That's just it. You want them to spread it around just for good sportsmanship, but at the same time, screw sportsmanship when a guy's that good. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
So this isn't going to be an Esteban Loaiza starting the All-Star game because you got to give the guy a nod. It's going to be Shohei Ohtani because Shohei Ohtani is the man. At any rate, Dylan Cease has done exactly what the Sox have expected from him this season, and then a little more. He's second in the league in strikeouts, and not by a lot. He has shut down the opposition every time it's been asked of him. He started a little shaky. What was that? About mid-May, he got a little shaky there, but he recouped really, really well. You know, something that Lucas Giolito, who is starting tonight, has struggled to do, that he did well in years past. We're seeing sort of the next step coming from Dylan Cease. You can see he's starting to gain a little bit more confidence in his battery. I don't know if that's just more consistency, not changing catchers, which I'm not sure if he did in years past or not, if he was primarily with McCann or Grandal and then got switched around or something. But regardless, he's gaining more confidence in his catcher. He's gaining more confidence in his own abilities. And you can see it in his eyes. He knows he's the man. He knows
Lately does.
That's it. You watch him step back there, and he doesn't care if it's Mike Trout or Joe Schmo. I mean, I'm not going to throw any players under the bus. They're professional players. They're a lot better than I'll ever be, but he doesn't care if it's me or Mike Trout in the box. He's going to strike us out. Let's put it that way. It's just been awesome to watch. He's really risen and come into his own and is the ace of this staff that I know Gonzo expected him to be. I know Vinny had hopes for. And frankly, I had questions about, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, I had questions too, and it's great to see him kind of come into his own, get that command figured out. He's got it right now. Let's hopefully it sticks around for a while for us. But no, I just had to get your thoughts on that before we dive head first into the show here, guys. And you know how we always lead things off here on South Burbs, Hitmen. It's a segment, Vinny, that what we like to call.
Well, Joe, we like to call this segment La Russa's Locker.
Yeah, so it was an interesting week for Tony La Russa. There were some highs, there were some lows, there were some lower lows, and then there was Larry Garcia. However you want to look at it, Tony had a forgettable week. Let's put it that way. Zim, before I toss it to Vinny, quick thoughts on Tony this week, and do you want to give him a big hug?
You know, I was really upset with him a few weeks ago, but as this keeps piling on, I'm starting to realize Tony's just doing what he can with what he's got. Look at this roster right now. What do you expect him to do? Like, who's he going to play instead of Larry Garcia? It sucks that we've got to deal with him day in and day out because that's just not the player that he is. He's a platoon guy. He's a every few days guy. He's not a day-to-day player. And unfortunately, he's had to be used as a day-to-day player. So little appearance by AJ in the background there.
No, it's all good, man.
Well, I mean, he heard the name Tony La Russa, and
we all kind of. He's a very polarizing figure. I get it. It's just I want to be mad at him. I want to ask more of him, but at the same time, what's he supposed to do with this? I honestly give him props for starting to put Andrew Vaughn out there regularly and not trying to play around that whole situation like I'm sure he wanted to. So, what are you going to do about it? Vinny, what do you think? Are you of the same opinion, or are you going to light him up?
A little bit of both. So I agree that Tony La Russa does have a harder job than a lot of managers so far this season because of the fact that multiple consequential players have missed significant time. A guy who's capable of hitting 45 bombs is currently in AAA because he hurt himself again. Every pitcher on the pitching staff has dealt with something sans Dylan Cease, who
don't say that out loud.
I wanted to say before I even move on from that, I want to piggyback off of Zim. Cease's one bad start, he still struck out double-digit Yankees, who have the best record in the American League. So, he's outstanding. And Tony has full confidence in this guy now, too, which I think is something that I appreciate because he has pulled guys. And I'm like, what are you pulling him for? Like, you don't have Michael Kopech as a super weapon in the bullpen anymore. It was supposed to be Garrett Crochet. He's out for the year. Like, your super weapon now is kind of Reynaldo Lopez. He's that guy who could come in and go multiple innings or go one inning or close. Like, he's
still
that guy
unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Tony, for me, gets a little bit of credit for what has happened to Reynaldo Lopez in the last 2 years, along with Ethan Katz. And I think Tony and Ethan Katz work well together in terms of pitcher development. And it's just some of the in-game stuff that really, really bothers me. Like, on Saturday, I could not believe that Tony just kept letting Lance Lynn throw in that seventh inning. He got 2 outs, and then it was clear that he was done, and he was over 100 pitches. It's like you see managers call a guy to get 1 out all the time. Like, that would have been a really good Reynaldo Lopez spot, to get that 3rd out, and he brings in Jose Ruiz. And the White Sox are only down.
That's a head scratcher.
They're only down by 1, and then Lance Lynn beans in the run, and then another hit, scores a bunch, and then it's over from there. Lance Lynn, he didn't give up a bunch himself. They were charged to him because he loaded the bases, and then a runner got beamed in. You're only down by 2. Like, what are you bringing in Jose Ruiz for with guys like Joe Kelly and Kendall Graveman and Reynaldo Lopez in the bullpen? And they're all available, you would think, because you lost 4 in a row. So, and when you lose, those guys aren't pitching as much as they normally do. I would give Tony La Russa a pass on the Leury Garcia thing if I believed that the reason Leury Garcia was playing a lot is because of injury. And he is now, maybe. But listen to this, guys. The White Sox are 15-29 in games that Leury Garcia plays. They are 19-8 in games that he does not play. Baseball is a wild sport, okay? The 2 best players are on the White Sox opponent tonight. Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. They are the 2 best players in Major League Baseball. And they're on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And that team stinks. They're 5 games under 500. So 1 guy doesn't make a team that bad, and 2 guys don't make a team good. I understand that. But it is just a little fishy to me that the guy on the White Sox who has an under 200 batting average, on-base percentage that would make a bad batting average, he's got a 210 on-base percentage. His WAR is -1. It's not even like it's negative. It's like -1. And, that's really bad. And he's probably the worst player on the team, at least right now, because we've seen him be good at the past.
Moment, yeah.
Even the glove's not good right now. I mean, he jumped in front of Lenin Sosa and made an error on a play that Sosa would have had with absolute ease. And it's like, is it because Sosa's a rookie that you jumped in front of him and did that? Which, you're supposed to be, leading by example. You're the longest tenured player on the team. And it's just mind-boggling to me that Tony uses him. And I wouldn't believe it's a Tony thing if it didn't happen long before the injuries. And then last year, he, got legitimately mad. I can't remember if it was Vinnie Duber or Scott Merkin. It was one of those guys calling him
I think it was Duber.
And he, screamed at him. So, I don't know what's going on, but La Russa didn't have his worst week. It definitely wasn't the Dodger week. And, the Baltimore Orioles came to town and whooped their ass. I don't got a better way to put it. And they played better than them on all facets of the game in 3 out of the 4. And they made it close in the last one. It's a tough situation. La Russa's not the guy. He's not. I would put him as a bottom 5 manager in the league right now based on what I've seen from in-game strategy and, whatnot. But if they had a top 5 manager, what would they have? 4 or 5 more wins, which is
maybe
right on.
They'd be around 500 instead of being slightly below, right?
Exactly. I am of the opinion that managers in baseball, the really, really good ones, the top 5, help you win a little bit, like the Tito Franconas and, some of the old Tony La Russa back in the day. But the bottom 5 managers, they can really harm you if a bad bullpen decision is constantly made and stuff like that. but 5 through 25 have impact based on the roster. So,
well, you know what? I'm sitting here thinking about it, Vinny, and there's like 6 or 7 games in April or May that were like one-run games that I think a better manager, we probably would have won. So I think we probably have 7 or 8 more wins if we had a good manager, now that I think about it.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And I'm trying to think of a game where Tony La Russa won for them. The Josh Harrison home run game, because I would have started Mendick at second base. I would have started Mendick at second base in that game. But then again, a day later, he puts in Hazley in center field, who helps.
Jake Berger pinch hit home run. That's another one.
Yeah, okay. But like a good manager wouldn't have had the fortitude.
You can't count it. You can barely fill up your one hand. So,
but like, who wouldn't pinch hit Jake Berger over a 200 hitter?
Right. Like, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, like, and I'm not taking away from Tony La Russa in that instance, because I don't know. It's just hard. There are a lot of things wrong, but people blame Rick Hahn as if Rick Hahn has anything to do with anything since 2020 ended. I just find it crazy. Like, you think it was Rick Hahn's idea to give Leury Garcia a 3-year deal? I say no shot. I say absolutely no shot.
You want to know the best part of that 3-year deal? This is the last year of it.
That's true. It's the first and last year of it. There's no way. There's no way. We bullied them into DFAing Keuchel. We'll bully them into DFAing Leury too.
Hey, Zim, how would you describe Leury Garcia's season so far, and would it possibly coincide with a segment that we have?
It could. I mean, I would define it personally as like near all-star level, but I know that you guys would probably consider it a big fat Adam dud.
You suck. You suck.
Stupid. Lousy. No excuse.
What a dud. What a total dud.
Ah, yes, the Adam dud of the week. The list could probably go on for miles because the team underperformed this week. Our next segment after this, where we talk about the good players, I kind of struggled to find some. So that says a lot about the week that we had. But, gentlemen, I will let you lead things off. Vinny, we'll start with you. Who is your Adam Dud player of the week?
I'm going to go with Tim Anderson. He went 3 for 18, 167 batting average, scored 2 runs, no RBIs, 3 strikeouts. 3 strikeouts is relatively low for 18 at-bats, but we all know Tim Anderson really doesn't go up there trying to guess whether or not it's going to be a fastball or a curveball or a slider. He's very see-ball, hit-ball type of hitter, and I think that's a really good mindset for a leadoff guy. But the Orioles had a plan for him at the top of the order. He wasn't able to impact the first inning the way that we've seen him impact first innings. And the White Sox are not that good when Tim Anderson isn't the Tim Anderson that we know. And coming back from the injury, he had I thought Saturday was a weird placement of the day off personally, but Lenin Sosa got in there for him, and it is what it is. But Tim Anderson, he's got to be the straw that stirs the drink. The drink is made nice with the Luis Robert might be the vodka, and Jose Abreu might be the cranberry, and Andrew Vaughn might be the sprinkle on top. But Tim Anderson's the straw that you need to stir it all together, and he was not that over the last little bit. But the injury, the legs, he'll be back. He's Tim Anderson. He's got a DQ commercial. I want a DQ commercial. I know I'd be great if I
want DQ.
So even though I think Bryce Harper's sandwich is more my style because I like spicy food, but I'm not going to give up on Tim Anderson either. I'm going to taste them both, and I'll give an honest review. But Tim Anderson, he'll be back with Vaughn batting right after him and Robert right after him. The protection for Tim Anderson is unreal. I mean, when's the last time the White Sox had a 1-4 like that? Even when they were like really good. Last year and the year before, you could find flaws with like their lineup, and this year 1-4 is just sick. It's the bottom of the lineup that like has kind of stunk. Like we need Moncada and Sheets and Grandal. We need all those guys back and going the way that we know that they can, so they could take advantage of the pack that is led by Tim Anderson, and hopefully they get that soon.
Yeah, for sure. TA will turn it around. I've got good faith. Let's get it started tonight, shall we?
He does great against the Angels historically. I believe one of his 5 home runs this season are against the Angels.
Look at that. It's a runner on second base for the Angels already. Fantastic.
Yep.
Anyway, let's turn things over to Steven Zim Zimmerman. Zim, who you got for your dud this week?
I have to give it to Gio. I mean, Lucas Giolito has just been gross in a bad way this season. It's been pitiful when he's been on the mound, and it's upsetting because like we got rid of Dallas Keuchel because of the exact crap that Giolito is now pulling. Like it's not what you expected from him. It's not what we want to see. And then the performance he puts up last week, giving up 7 runs, like that's not okay. You're a professional pitcher. You've got to be better than that. Like, and at some point there has to be some kind of accountability for it. And that's what's frustrating is they're so injured and they're so far behind the 8 ball from where they expect to be. There's no way to create that sort of accountability. You know, you need him on the mound right now. Hell, you've got Davis Martin starting games for you right now because you're so injured. So what are you going to do?
Well, you bring up a good point, Zim. You talk about Giolito, and you can continue talking, but I'm going to put up this picture. I'll let you talk about his body language because it's driving me out of my mind.
Yeah, he looks like a defeated guy out there. He reminds me of late stage Jay Cutler. He reminds me of when Aaron Rodgers throws an interception. Like, he's just a pouty-faced little kid right now, and it's like, you got to pull your head out of your ass and get it together. That's not the face of a champion. That's not the face of a winner. That's the face of a guy who's lost and doesn't know what he's doing next. And it's, I'm sure, just as frustrating for him as it is for us. And hearing fans, like us sit here and tear him down, like probably is really defeating for him right now because he knows he's better. But I tell you what, he just struck out Shohei Ohtani and made him spin into the dirt with his helmet off his head in the process.
I think that's what's so frustrating, right?
Maybe right there he gains that confidence back. But now I see him look towards the dugout and he's got that same dead look in his eyes. And it's just like, he can't figure himself out right now. And you're frustrated with him and frustrated on his behalf at the same time.
Yeah, it's frustrating to me because he's got all the talent in the world, and then he could have it and be so locked in, and then 2 seconds later, it looks like he doesn't want to be there. It's kind of weird. It's almost like a poutiness. Vinny, I don't know if I'm completely off base. I know you're a fan of Giolito, so am I. But there's something I can't put my finger on it. I know we're kind of going long on Gio here, but I think it's worth a conversation.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth a conversation. I like Giolito because he wears a Chicago White Sox uniform.
Sure.
I have no agenda on who I want to be good and who I want. You put on that uniform, I cheer for you, and I'll call it like I see it. And in that picture, it's pretty obvious that something was bugging Giolito. Now, here's the thing I'll say. I have no issues with anything mechanically about Giolito. The only thing that's an issue for me right now, and I think it's playing a big role, and the velocity's down. So I'm wondering if he's hurt. Giolito, he's not Dallas Keuchel. He's not a soft tosser. That rarely ever works in baseball. Like even Kyle Hendricks has had his struggles this year. Like the best pitchers in the league now are pumping out 98, 99, 100, and then mixing in an 87-mile-an-hour slider or curveball, depending on your handedness, and then working in a changeup like Giolito is probably the best in the league at when he's good, working the changeup. And, I just think they brought in Ethan Katz with him in mind. And, how it worked for him, and can it work for Cease? It did. Can it work for Kopech? It did. Lynn is still coming back from an injury, but I have all the faith in the world in him because he's just kind of mean and throws 3 different variations of a fastball. But, Vincent brings up that his jersey soaked first inning. It's SoCal. It's SoCal, and you had to face all those great hitters in the first inning. Like Ward is amazing. He had the leadoff double. Like, Shohei Ohtani, there's the Mike Trouts and all that kind of stuff. But, it's just, he's one of those guys that I believe is so supremely talented that when he struggles, it's like, how? You're in your mid-20s and you look like that. And that's also like encouraging to me at the same time, because in 2019 he was 6th in Cy Young voting, in 2020 he was 7th, and last year he was 11th. Like all relatively high finishes in Cy Young voting. It's not going to happen this year because of the first half, but I believe he can have that level of performance in the second half. It's all about, can he take that talent and get the best out of himself? I think he can.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets it together tonight. He got out of that first inning, and let's keep things chugging along there. And
let's not forget what's on his mind too. He's got a big potential payday coming up. He's not going to get paid if he like goes out there and struggles. So he's just got to relax. Like, you're going to get nothing if you like. You're going to get something. You're Lucas Giolito, but like you're not going to get what you thought if you go out there and you pout about paychecks and talk about stuff like that. Like, look what happened to all the core of the Cubs. Javi turned down $280 million.
Yeah,
he made a lot less with the Detroit Tigers, and now he stinks, and that's going to be an albatross contract literally now, but a year from now. So just go out there, relax, Giolito. You're cool, man. You're Lucas Giolito. You're Italian. You get to go out there and show off your hairy chest and play on the same team. Yeah, you got Vinny cheering for you and Zim going, Giolito, let's go. You play on the same team as Luis Robert, who might be the coolest dude who ever lived. Just go out there, man. It's cool. Pretend it's the 90s.
It is cool. And you talked about those guys that get those big paychecks, Vinny. What kind of guys get the big paychecks? Maybe correlating with a certain segment that we might have.
Yeah, so Hawk Harrelson was just on a podcast I listened to, Redline Radio, a couple weeks ago, and he had a famous catchphrase. He liked when the ball went deep, he would yell stretch, and he would say, you can put it on the board.
Ball hit deep, way back, he looks up, you can put it on the board. Yes!
Yeah, so I really struggled, guys, to make some nominations here for put it on the board players this week. We had some pretty pedestrian stat lines across the board on both pitching and offense. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys choose. I mean, there's a pretty obvious one answer, but Zim, I'll let you go first. Who you got for your put it on the board player of the week?
Pass. Straight up. I'm you say there's an obvious one. I don't really care. Nobody played well as far as I'm concerned. Pass.
Well, I mean, I almost decided, I thought about it when I was doing this, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say we all sucked this week. But I was like, there had to have been a couple decent performances, and literally there was a couple.
There's if you got to take the big obvious guy, it's still in C's, who like just shut it down in his 2 starts.
Ridiculous.
24 strikeouts in 2 starts. That's redonkulous. That's not ridiculous. That's redonkulous. It's a step above that, man.
There's a huge difference between ridiculous and redonkulous. If you break out redonkulous, you better know your shit.
Redonkulous.
Well,
yeah.
I should probably put redonkulous away then, because I talk out my ass a lot.
That's why we love you.
He had a great week though. 2 starts, 13 innings, 24 strikeouts, like I already said, and 1 earned run in those 2 games. Like that's so otherworldly. He's on another level right now. There's a reason we talked about him a whole bunch earlier, why I say something's different. He's coming into his own. He's figuring it out. I don't know if that big fuzzy caterpillar on his upper lip is giving him hints or something, if it's a Ratatouille situation, but it's working.
A Ratatouille situation. Man, I cannot get that image out of my head now, man. I like that.
I have a shout out. I don't know if I'm going to call him put it on the board player of the week like I would like to, but I liked Gavin Sheets this week.
Nice.
He went down to AAA. It was a tough situation. I'm worried about a potential crosstalk South Burbs Hitmen curse because freaking Sheets sucked. Hendricks was hurt. Jake Berger We got to be careful with him.
We're not going to talk about that.
No, but Gavin Sheets, he went down, and when he came back up, he's actually looked like a competent hitter again. And we saw what he did last year. He had like 14 bombs in the last 60 games of the season. From the All-Star break on, he was incredible. Left-hand power from, for the White Sox, who very much lack left-handed hitting. Most of their left-handed hitters are switch hitters. He's like their, natural lefty power hitter. And, I like this guy. He's nice. And the other day, it was Saturday, which kind of sucks because it was a wasted performance, but he beat the shift twice. And if you're like a dead pull left-handed hitter and the other team plays you that hard and you're able to knock it to left field when nobody's standing there and get 2 piece of crap singles out of it, it's not that big of a deal. Or it's a really good thing. And then, so the 385 batting average, that's actually better than I thought it was going to be. I just think the home run is like the biggest thing because nobody on the White Sox has hit a home run since we last spoken to each other.
Yeah,
or I think the day after someone hit a home run, the Tuesday, they ended a 5-game home run drought, and they need to hit more home runs. And I just think Gavin Sheets, he ended it. The drought is over. Hopefully they're able to hit a couple bombs. Guaranteed Rate Field is supposed to be a launching pad in the summer, and it hasn't been for them. It's been a great launching pad for other teams. But, Gavin Sheets, he's looked pretty good lately. So hopefully he can keep that up.
Yeah, no, that's a great call out, Vinny. I didn't list him just because he only had 13 at bats, but I mean he still did well with those at bats. So great call out there. I'm going to go with Jose Abreu, who's really starting to get hot here. Again, hitting almost 350 for the week. He had that homer. How do you hit almost 350 in the week and only have 2 ribby? It's so weird. That just shows you how terrible of a week this team had. 2 runs scored, the 1 walk. Maybe if there was other guys hitting around him, we would have had a bit of a better week. But shout out to Jose Abreu for continuing to bring it, and I think he will continue to bring it the rest of, there's not much left in June, but the whole month of July. So I love what I'm seeing out of Jose Abreu. I just need some other people to hit.
If Tim Anderson had a better week, he'd have more RBI. I mean, that's just
no doubt,
kind of common sense, right? He hits 4.
That's how this lineup works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The straw that stirs the drink, right, Vinny?
Exactly. Jose Abreu's the cranberry.
Ooh, you guys are blowing my mind right now. This is insane. The thing you were talking about earlier has just come back full circle.
What was that? I'm not watching.
The straw that stirs the drink. You guys are just you're so on this.
Well, thank you.
No, honestly though, you're absolutely right though. That's exactly what Vinny was talking about earlier. It's exactly what I'm trying to say now.
I believe
that's how this lineup is constructed. It's made so that it builds on itself. It's why Eloy's injury was such a big deal last year and why it's continuing to be such a big deal this year.
Think about 05. Who in the 05 White Sox was a threat to hit a home run every single time they came up to the plate?
Jeff Blum.
Carl Everett.
All right, so now the real answers.
Hey, Jeff Blum hit a home run in 100% of his World Series at bats. All right,
that's very fair. My favorite part about Jeff Blum is he's the Houston Astros color commentator now.
Yeah,
and that's the team the White Sox beat in the World Series thanks to Jeff Blum.
That's the team he played for at the beginning of that season.
Exactly. I think I would hate him if I was an Astros fan, but they love him. I don't get it. I would hate his guts.
Yeah. During the I'm losing my train of thought now. I'll let you go, Vinny. I lost it.
It was Jermaine Dye and Paul Konerko, right? Those guys hit 30+ home runs, and everybody.
And regular season, Big Frank.
Yeah, but he wasn't on. He wasn't.
Then he got hurt
the whole year. So that 05 team.
Right. It was you put Scotty Pods up first just to get on base and hope something happens. Yeah. Right. You put Tadahito Iguchi second because he was kind of a slap guy. He might hit one out. He probably wasn't gonna. He was usually good to at least get Podsednik over to third, though. Then you got the power coming up to the plate where you put Jermaine Dye at 3 and you put Paulie at 4, and all of a sudden things start to get rolling. Then you got Juan Uribe at 5, who's a Javier Baez type player, where he's got this big long swing, and if he hits it, it's going way away. But if he doesn't hit it, which he usually doesn't, well, you're not too worried about it because he's in your 5 hole. Not in your 2 hole.
The Sox signed his son, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Which is
Jr. He's awesome.
I'm very excited to see if that works out. And then you got Cree batting 6 and 7.
Yeah.
What? You don't get him? Yes. So this lineup is constructed in a very, very similar way, but with more power. And that's what sucks about seeing them hurt so much, is that you got Tim Anderson, who's your Scotty Pods type guy, but he's a little slower and he's got more power, right? You know, and so on and so forth, all the way down the lineup. I feel it's a pretty similar situation where the guys are a little stronger, but a little less likely to get a hit. And that's just the modern game. But you're absolutely right, Vinny. It's constructed in such a similar way. The straw that stirs the drink is everywhere through this lineup. And it's so frustrating to not see them get it done through either injuries or lack of preparedness or whatever, inconsistency in the lineup.
It's true. There's no lineup continuity. Well, it's been better lately. I mean, I don't know what the H was on Tony's mind earlier in the season, but it pretty much has been a steady diet of Anderson, Vaughn, Robert, Abreu as the top 4 for the last couple weeks now. And, you know, hopefully once Grandal, Moncada, which Moncada will be back tomorrow, and Grandal, once all those guys are back hitting the ball. Grandal and Moncada were on fire when they got hurt. So, yeah, we got the straw that stirs the drink, Tim Anderson. Hopefully he's able to get it done. I like comparing the White Sox pitching staff to 05 too. It's a big 4, and if the big 4 don't roll, they're not going to win anything.
Hey, you got to wake up at some point. But the thing I was going to say about the straw that stirs the drink is I think Reggie Jackson was the first person to say that back in the day. I think that's kind of where it came from. So little fact for everybody. But our buddy Gonzo, obviously he's got other things to tend to tonight, but he was kind enough to prepare a segment for us. It's the one he leads every single week, gives us the down low on what the White Sox got going on this week. It's a little segment we like to call White Sox Weekly.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's Gonzo here, and this is White Sox Weekly. And the White Sox began the road stretch here this week with the first stand Monday through Wednesday versus Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Game 1 on Monday is going to be Lucas Giolito versus Noah Syndergaard. Both are, really great arms, great right-handed pitchers going up against each other. Gio's looking to bounce back this season after a rough stretch as of lately. Game 2 is undecided for the Los Angeles Angels. Possibly it's going to be Ditmir, but White Sox are going to throw out there Johnny Cueto, who's looking to have another quality start for us on his beautiful performances as of lately. And Game 3 is going to be Moist Michael versus Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei is the showcase, of course, out on the west coast of the MLB. And it's going to be a great series versus the Angels, who have been playing 500 baseball lately themselves. So let's see what the boys can do on the road in Anaheim. Series of the road trip is going to be Friday through Sunday. Game 1 is going to be Lance Lynn versus Alex Cobb. Again, 2 interesting right-handers going up against each other. Cobb has had a good stretch in Tampa in his recent years. But other than that, Lance Lynn's looking to continue his stretch of good outings. He needs to finish strong, though, as of lately he hasn't been able to finish strong in his outings. Game 2 is going to be Dylan Cease, the ace, up against Webb of the Giants, and Webb's having a good season for himself. Game 3 is going to be Discofani versus Lucas Giolito. Some interesting points here to note in the first series versus the Angels. Trout, all-star ballot center fielder. He's having an amazing stretch for the Angels. Watch his bat. And for the Giants, it's going to be Jock Peterson, who truly is an outfielder that Hahn could have grabbed this offseason, and he's in the All-Star ballot for the Giants as of right now. Guys, this is going to be a hell of a trip coming on the road. Let's see if the boys can play above 500 baseball and win both series. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Gonzo. Appreciate the report on the week ahead. Like I said last week, I want to get a little Gonzo and just kind of put him in my pocket. I still want that to happen. We'll see. Maybe next time I wear a shirt with a pocket here, I'll get a little cut out of him and put him in there. But during Gonzo's report, why don't you talk about it, Zim? Because it's very Canseco vibes from Gavin Sheets.
Well, it's under review right now, so it may not stand up. But while we were playing that little clip from our buddy Gonzo, there was a deep drive into right field as our right fielder Gavin Sheets, all world right fielder out there. Definitely not a first baseman, just stuck out in right field by necessity, but a guy who knows the position inside and out. Tracks it all the way back to the warning track, and it bounces out of his glove and onto the fence as they signal home run. They are reviewing it right now. It may not stand, but it's a pretty embarrassing moment there for a moment.
What do you do if it doesn't stand, though? Because the guy came around to score anyway. But at the same time, the White Sox did slow down because the umpire was going like this.
It turns into
a fan. But it didn't, clearly.
It did not. It turns into a dead ball situation, and the runner is awarded the last base he touched before the dead ball situation was put in effect. So in this case, I believe they'll put him back at third base.
With a 1-0 lead?
Yes. So the first run will come around to score because that would have scored regardless. Yeah, they're putting him back at third base because, again, that's where he had advanced to by the time the White Sox had given up on the play. So
that's embarrassing stuff.
That's why Baltimore won 3 out of 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's stuff like this. I mean, you guys want to talk about that you don't put it on Hahn. And I'm sorry to backtrack here, but this play just brings it up. We talk about not wanting to put it on Hahn. But he had the opportunity to build this team out, to acquire some outfielders, to acquire some depth. I know it's not the end all be all, but MLB.com ranks this as the worst farm system in baseball right now. I think that's far from true. Oscar Colas, Lennon Sosa, Colson Montgomery, Jake Berger, there's all kinds of names that we can throw out there that contradict that statement. However, he could have done more to solidify this lineup, to really take a World Series contender and bump them up to the point where they can withstand a couple injuries. And instead, as Gonzo mentioned, Jock Peterson is playing for the Giants. There are multiple other guys. Who's the guy that wound up in Cleveland? Was it Nelson Cruz they were about to sign and then decided he was too expensive? Somebody along those lines.
I'm not sure, but I can tell you.
Probably was, and he ended up with Washington, but they'll flip him at some point.
Right.
Yeah, it could. Although it is the anniversary of the so-called trade for Eduardo Escobar that never happened.
Yeah. So it's
Bob
just
Nightingale's such an idiot.
Plays like that just drive that point home that the Sox could have done a lot more this offseason. I know there was the lockout and everything, but a lot of other teams improved and found ways to get better. I know the Yankees sure did.
No fundamentals.
Like the Yankees always do.
Yeah, the Yankees did it smartly, though, instead of just buying people this time. Like, they traded for Josh Donaldson, who I hate Josh Donaldson. I think he's a douche. But he had a big home run today that put them ahead. So, the Yankees have been doing it a little bit on the smarter side lately rather than just flaunting their money, too, which is why they have 50 wins already, and the White Sox are barely over 30.
That's right. And speaking of wins, pick to click, guys. We certainly had a rough week across the board. I had to pick a winner, though. I had Andrew Vaughn. Gonzo had Luis Robert. Zim, you went with TA. And Vinny went with Jake Berger. So Luis Robert had the most RBI and most electricity out of all those guys. So I'm going to give it to Gonzo. I think everyone would agree. So I text Gonzo who he wants for his pick to click, and he is going to go with – well, actually, before that, here's the updated standings. Gonzo with 4, Vinny with 3, Zim with 2, and I only have 1. So that's where we stand. Gonzo, though, going to go with Tim Anderson this week. Want to point out to you guys as well, audience, we are not doing a show on the 4th of July next week. So this pick is going to be for 2 weeks. So keep that in mind, gentlemen, when you're making your pick here. So Gonzo going to go with Tim Anderson. Let's see. Next honorable mention, I'd say the next one was probably Andrew Vaughn out of those guys with the best week. So I guess I will go next. If he's taking Tim Anderson, I'm trying to think long run here. So Gio's got 2 starts this week. I feel like going with a pitcher is probably a risky thing for 2-week stretch. Cease, I feel like, there's no way he could be as world beater as he's been for the next couple weeks. So I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. I think I'm going to go with the hot hand in Jose Abreu as my pick. So Jose Abreu for me. Then Vinny, you had Jake Berger, so I'm going to have you go next. Who you got for pick to click?
I will take Yohan Moncada.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's coming back tomorrow and he's going to be sick.
All right.
I hope
knew
he's
he's
not
coming.
sick. Then he goes back on the IL.
Funny.
I say sick for everything. And like every now and then someone like makes that joke and I laugh at it every time. Because I say stuff is sick
Jim.
and I say stuff is sweet and like it's just part of my like weird lingo because I'm kind of weird. And yeah, that's it.
Wow, dude. I like it. I like the ballsy pick. It could pay off for you big time. It leaves a lot of options on the table for Zim with 4th pick. Zim, who are you going to go with here, dude?
Well, I want to thank Gonzo for taking Tim Anderson off the table because I keep getting tempted to pick him and he keeps letting me down.
Fair.
I wish that Dylan Cease got a 3rd start, but unfortunately he only gets 2 starts in these next 2 weeks. And that's just not quite enough for me to want to put my hat on there. So let's see who's off the board. We got
Abreu,
Moncada,
Anderson,
Abreu, and Anderson. Okay, yep. Well, default then Luis Robert.
I had a feeling I already had that typed in for you, and then you backed me up big time there. So
at this point in the year, like, and the way this team's been playing, if you get the chance to pick Luis Robert, he's the safest pick on the team this year.
Yeah, no bad options here, guys. No bad options. So we'll see, what happens. Great
funny,
picks.
First week of the season, if you'd have shown these 4 guys as our picks to click, Moncada, Anderson, Abreu, and Robert, we'd be like, yeah, no crap, those are the 4 guys you pick. And right now it feels like, I don't really know about that right now with all 4 of them.
I thought about taking AJ Pollock, but we'll see. Maybe he'll heat up here again too. Maybe I'll regret not taking him. I hope I do.
Freaking Moncada, he's such a toolsy player. I've never seen a toolsy player suck more. Like, he is so good at baseball, and he's so physically gifted, and he sucks. And I just can't wait. I hope one day he starts to put those tools to his advantage because he can hit for power. He can hit for contact. He can run. I've seen him score from first on a ball that didn't go that far. Like, he could play really good defense at third base. What's the other tool I'm missing? I don't even know. Like, he's so good, and he's been so good. Like, he went to AAA and dominated so hard because he's so good. And then he gets to the majors, and it's almost like he's so intimidated that he's like a first grader who got moved up to 3rd grade because he's so smart, but he doesn't use that knowledge to his own advantage. And I bugs me so much. He's the most frustrating player to ever put on a White Sox uniform because I believe he can be as good as Luis Robert. The tools are all there. When he strikes out, it's pretty. The swing is magnificent. His body, it's like, I'm not trying to get all weird, but like he's just a specimen. And it just bugs me that he sucks so bad, and I don't think it's going to last forever.
Would you say it's a desastre personnel?
His career so far is a desastre personnel. No doubt whatsoever. I don't know Spanish. Maybe that's what he's actually singing. Mi desastre
personal
persona. It's a great song. I listen to it all the time. I want people to want to listen to Desastre Persona. If he was batting 300 with a 870 OPS and had 15 bombs right now, that song, like MLB would use that song to their advantage. Like he's just so wonderful in so many ways, and for some reason he just hasn't gotten it done, and it's so frustrating. Listen, Chris Sale was my favorite player. He was traded for Moncada and Kopech. Those are the two jerseys I bought of like the modern day White Sox players. Like if you go to a White Sox game with me, I'm either, unless it's a Sunday, because I'll wear something different on Sundays. But if it's a regular game Monday through Saturday, I'm either wearing my black Moncada jersey or my white Kopech jersey. And those are my guys. And I want them to do good. That's why I have no problem talking crap about Moncada. He's got to be better. He's got to be. He has to be.
How many views do you think that music video has for Desastre Personnel, which I was just playing on YouTube?
Oh, it's probably got 3 million.
It's got 1.5 million.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's like not, I don't know. That's a weird number to me. I was expecting either like 300,000 or like 3 million, you know, like either a little or a lot for somebody of his status. 1.5 million. That's like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah. Did you see the brawl between
the Angels?
That video on Twitter got 4.5 million views.
Yeah.
Did you see the suspensions that came down from that?
Oh, we haven't talked about that.
Right?
I figured we would at some point.
It's a whole list. Do we have time right now, Joe, to touch on that? Or you want to wait till the close of the show?
No, let's get into it. The next thing we have on the docket's guaranteed take. We're running at a pretty good time today, so let's do it.
You want the list?
Yeah, so let's see.
I got it for you.
I gotta see if I can find the video of the brawl. Hang on, I'm gonna find it while one of you guys set it up. I'll find the video.
If you scroll down my Twitter page a little bit, you'll find it easy.
There's a litany of suspensions here. So, leads off with Phil Nevin getting a 10-game suspension. 10-game suspension. Which, let's see, what is it for? Received a 10-game suspension for the intentional throwing by pitcher Andrew Wentz while warnings were in place, right? So Jesse Winker gets the next biggest one. Go figure. He was at the crux of the whole thing. He gets a 7-day suspension. Rendon gets 5-day suspension. He was the one really swinging. If you watch this video, he's the one going through and really teeing off on guys. And then a whole bunch of coaches got big suspensions through this whole thing too. But then we got, let's see, Mariners shortstop J.P. Crawford, 5 games. Angels pitcher Andrew Wentz, 3 games for the actual, he's the guy who threw the pitch. Angels pitcher Ryan Tepera, 3 games. Angels pitcher Raciel Iglesias, 2 games. Mariners outfielder Julio Rodriguez, 2 games. Angels bench coach, Angels major league interpreter, and Angels catching coach. All with 1 and 2 game suspensions. I mean, that's what's shocking to me. And honestly, a little upsetting by the Angels organization is all the coaches that are disciplined in this.
And the translator.
The translator.
And Rendon, who's out for the season.
Rendon's out for the season?
Yeah, Rendon's 5-game suspension is for next season because he's out for the rest of this season.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he had some kind of surgery. It's already an albatross contract for them too.
But,
he's out for the season too. And I just think it's funny that they like slapped 5 games on him as if his baseball life wasn't tough enough right now. But Shohei Ohtani, if you watch this video a little bit, Like he's got the most polite like defending of his teammates of all time. I love that guy.
Yeah,
he's so wonderful. He's just so great off the field and on the field. Like,
could you please leave my teammates alone, please?
Yeah,
hey, please,
mind?
sir.
So great. So great.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
Cabrera too. The fact that an old White Sox friend out for the series, the White Sox don't have to see him look like, Cy Young himself out there.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of nice because he would have came in and locked them down. Just like when the White Sox play the Dodgers, I'm so scared because Craig Kimbrell's going to come in, go 3 up, 3 down, and close out a win for him.
We just talk about the fact we've been talking about this fight for like 3 minutes now. Joe's been playing the video this whole time.
It's still going.
Especially for anybody who's listening and not actually watching on YouTube. By the way, you can listen to our podcast anywhere that you download podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, etc. But for those of you listening who can't actually see it, like this fight has been going on this whole time. It was a whole ordeal. If you haven't seen the video, like Vinny said, it's got like 4.5 million views on Twitter. So everybody else has seen it. You need to go catch up with the rest of the baseball community.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man. Baseball is a hell of a sport.
That might actually be the wildest fight I've seen in a baseball game since the Cubs White Sox brawl back in, what was that, 07, 08?
Yeah, because normally baseball brawls are like
06.
a bunch of hold me back kind of guys, like hold me back.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But like this one had like actual punches thrown and got really violent. Like it looked like your local tavern at 2 a.m. after a couple of vodkas were slaughtered in the seats, and it looked like guaranteed Ray Field's bleachers on a Saturday night game against the Tigers.
Oh, I love it, boys.
Yeah, we had that incident a few years ago that led to the rule change with Odor and Batista. But that was just one punch. It was like one punch and then a bunch of hold me back, like you were talking about, Vinny. And this was the first full brawl I've seen since that Cubs Sox incident.
We need more fights in baseball.
I don't know about that.
I enjoy them.
The suspensions make me not want them.
Yeah,
that's just
true.
it. I mean, look at the number of guys on the Angels. I mean, if the Angels lose this series against our Sox, you could easily say it's a direct result of that brawl.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination at all. So when you could see it have direct effect. Now, thankfully for the Angels, they're going up against the White Sox right now, so it might turn out to be kind of a wash for them. But
we'll see.
If you get into an incident like that and then you've got a divisional opponent the next day and then you end up losing the division race by 3 games, like all of a sudden that one stupid little fight cost you a division championship. You missed the playoffs altogether because you couldn't keep your hands off somebody. So
I love it, man. And we're going to keep the show chugging. We're going to get into a little bit of a debate and a hot topic conversation in this week's Guaranteed Take.
Yay!
That beat just makes me want to do the Macarena every single time I hear it,
I don't know if I've ever wanted to bop my head to a little jam more in my whole life.
Yeah.
Like if you want to sell me something, play a nice little tune like that. I'll be at your store the next day. Maybe bring some friends. It'll be a good time.
Sounds like it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I pose a question to you gentlemen this week for the Guaranteed Take. Does the Danny Mendick injury force the White Sox to make a deal for a second baseman, or do they stay put at the deadline? I know a lot of that has to do with their record. Vincent Parise, do the White Sox need a second baseman?
As we get closer to the trade deadline, I will reach out to my friend who I like to ask about inside stuff when it comes to the White Sox. I'm not there yet just because I don't think the White Sox are there yet either. If Eloy comes back after the All-Star break and his first 2 weeks are sick, and Josh Harrison continues to play okay because he was bad to start the year, and that makes people think that he's still bad now. He's been okay in the last month or so. If they show that they can be a little bit healthy, and some of the guys from the minor leagues like Lenin Sosa, and maybe they give Yolbert Sanchez a chance at some point. He's been really kicking butt down in AAA. Jake Berger stays well. Then I could see them addressing pitching first and foremost. But I mean, if every position on the diamond is contributing offense and playing good defense, except for a couple positions here and there, like Gavin Sheets will never be a good outfielder. Like that's what you get for treating your off season like two first basemen can be your outfielders. But it's one of those things that's like, we'll see. I would also I would go all in. Like you have Robert, Grandal, Abreu, Anderson. Like you have all these guys right now. Giolito, Kopech, Cease. These next 3 years would be my quote unquote window. And then after that, you deal with it from there. I would do that if I were the White Sox. I probably wouldn't trade Colson Montgomery or Coles. But outside of that, I'm open for business if I'm Rick Hahn. Last year, the Braves acquired Peterson and Soler and Rosario, and all those guys were sick for them. And they got it done replacing Ronald Acuna Jr., who's a top 5 player in baseball. And I would get 2 more relievers and a second baseman. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty in line with you there, Vinny. I think we need a second baseman. Do I think the White Sox are going to be able to land Jazz Chisholm? I don't think they have the pieces to do it. But, who knows? Maybe Rick Hahn finds a way to make it happen. You eat a lot of his contract. You let them, I don't know, you figure something out. But I think we need a reliever as well. I'd love to see a solid reliever addition, at least one. I'm with you there. But definitely need second base help. Zim, do the White Sox need to trade for at least a second baseman?
Maybe. I'm of the opinion right now that if they don't right the ship soon, I'm talking back above 500 by the time we have another podcast, I don't think they should be buying anything at the deadline. In fact, I think they should be selling and looking forward to next year. I think that if they can't figure this out for this season, if they can't start putting wins together and not just a couple wins against a good team here and there, but I'm talking consistent, like they were doing at the beginning of the season, 2 out of 3 in just about every series, take 2 out of 3 at home and go 500 on the road. If they can't start doing that, it's time to sell. It's time to, Gio's not been good. So what do? You get rid of him and take what you can, hoping that somebody sees his upside and is willing to pay him and you don't have to, so that you can go get other pieces next year. Do you, as hard as it would be for Sox fans, Jose Abreu is not getting any younger and his production is still pretty good. Do you see what you can do there? Same with Yohan Moncada. Berger might not be the best on defense. He's kind of a butcher in the field, honestly, but he's a lot more solid at the plate lately. Do you hope that somebody sees what the Sox once saw in Moncada? I know it's kind of a dark path to go down, and I'm acting like all is lost when we're not even halfway through the season. But with a trade deadline that's as early in the year as the MLB trade deadline is, these are the kinds of questions that the White Sox should be having internally, and that I hope that they are having internally, that they're kind of figuring out, like, this might not be the year. I'm not saying that it's not the year, but you have to be open to the idea that it's not the year. And you have to make some pretty definitive choices when it comes to the All-Star break. All-Star break. I keep saying All-Star break, but trade deadline, they're 2 weeks apart.
Sure.
If you don't act decisively and quickly in those 2 weeks, your whole season can completely go off the rails. And I mean, we've seen some teams legitimately fall apart I mean, we're not talking just the season. We're talking 2016 Cubs fall off. Because guess what? They made a few deals at a deadline that led them to lose a whole bunch of players inevitably, or in the end, you know, and it was all because of a couple deadline deals.
The Cubs fell off because their core started to suck.
Their core did start to suck, but they didn't have the pieces to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. The White Sox don't suck because Luis Robert, Abreu, Anderson, those guys have been great. The White Sox are the Padres of last year. Like,
sure.
And they're so good this year. Like,
but at what point,
I agree with you completely.
At what point do you say, like, okay, these guys are good, but they're never healthy? You know, you could have the best team in the world. You can have, you know, a team of Hall of Famers, but if they're all injured, who freaking cares?
New training staff.
And that's kind of the point that I'm getting to with the Sox, where I'm like, I don't think that we overrate them, but they're never all healthy at the same time. If they are, it's for a week, you know? And so that's why I say, like, this team has to start making some decisive choices. They have to start making them with a purpose, and they have to start doing it like they mean it, for lack of a better way to put it. There has to be some sort of definitive conclusion to what's happening with this team. And right now it's all so up in the air, and it has been for 3 years now.
I have a question for you, and it's a legitimate concern on my part because I agree with everything you're saying. I at one point, when Eloy first got hurt, I was like, we're really doing this again?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point do you try and get like a pitcher for him, like a sick pitcher from a team that's not contending, that'll be okay with him being injured for half of this season? But then I think to like some other sports, and even it's happened in baseball, but the one that sticks out with me the most is like people talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins trading Sidney Crosby after he got hurt in 2010, and he missed like the better part of 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
And like Evgeny Malkin took over. He was the best player on their team. They were still a contender, but they weren't what they'd be with Sid.
He literally derailed championship hopes that organization had. Yes,
exactly. But they didn't trade him. And when he came, he finally found a way to stay healthy. And then they won the cup again in 2016 and 17. And I'm just like, you know, what would the Penguins have looked like if they gave in to injury pressure early in Sid's career? And I'm like, okay, well, what if Eloy Jimenez is not to baseball what Sidney Crosby is to hockey at all? Sidney Crosby is a top 5 player ever. But what if they traded him and he goes to like the Dallas Stars and goes on to have this top 5 career after he figures out a way to get healthy? Now you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. You traded him because he was hurt 2 years in a row. And it's like, it is just such a scary thought to think about trading Moncada or trading Jimenez, trading, you know, if Robert got hurt again, people would start saying the same thing. Like the thought of trading these guys and then them getting healthy elsewhere and becoming the stars that the tools that they possess allow them to become, that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
some power.
I totally get it. Like, and that is a line that you walk when doing this. But that's what I talk about, like with the ambiguity of it all. Like, are you going to ride it out with these guys? That's great, but you got to get some depth then. So that's where your decisive action comes in here, right? That's what I'm talking about with all this. I'm not talking about necessarily selling the farm and starting over from scratch. But when I say, you know, and this is a better way to put it, taking decisive action. Okay, if these are the guys, show them they're the guys. Let's put an infrastructure in place so that, hey, we know you're coming back. We know that you're just hurt, but we need this guy to help us get through the rest of this year, right? So we're going to go out and we're going to get, I don't know, Chris likes him a lot. Charlie Blackmon. Yeah, he's old. Yeah, he doesn't hit well, but he's a better right fielder than what they got right now. Yeah, he's expensive, but guess what? He's out of that contract in another year or two, and you got a good backup in the meantime. You know, an expensive backup, but again, it's better than what you got right now. Something along those lines, though. You go out, you get a guy, and you say, this is what we're doing. instead of this whole holding pattern that we've been in for 3 seasons.
Yeah. They got to do something. Rick Hahn, we're looking at you. So work your magic, buddy. We'll see what
Jazz
you can
Chisholm isn't happening.
Probably not.
No, but my piece on trading him did well. Thank you,
Yes.
Jazz. Thank you,
Look,
Jazz.
I love him. I think he would be a fantastic fit with this team. But what would you have to give up to get him? It's just not
too much.
Yeah. Did you see
I tell you what, the guy playing second base right now is part of that deal if you make it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The jersey he named as his favorite City Connect is the one you're wearing. Someone asked him. He goes, Southside. I'm like, let's go, Jazz. Come on and wear that jersey, man. Every Monday home game. You can wear that jersey, Jazz. He has family around here too. Not a lot of people know that. He has a lot of family in the Chicagoland area.
Well, look, if he ever hits free agency, I'm sure that the White Sox will be towards the top of his list.
Yes, 100%.
But we got to wait how many years for that?
Yeah, a lot. Which that's what the White Sox like to do. He'll be at the Adam Gunn point of his career.
Speaking of the jersey I'm wearing right now, number 7, congratulations to Tim Anderson, who just swiped his 100th career bag.
Hey, Timmy. Nice job, buddy. Come around and score, will you?
There you go.
And 101.
That a boy. TA. Swiping bags and stealing hearts. Wow, that's actually a poorly timed joke. We'll go ahead and leave that for another conversation for another day. But I want to get to we got through all the meat and bones of the show. We always do a little something fun at the end. And all 3 of you have been to a ball game in the last year. Vinny and I more recently than you, Zim, but that's okay. Specifically at guaranteed rate. Wondering if you guys have your a favorite little game day tip for a fan going to the game, whether it's your first time or you've been there a bunch of times. If there's one little tip that you could share with somebody. I know there's a lot of things in this park. There's a lot of things people don't know. There's a lot of hidden gems. I'll let you two mull on it for a second. I'll go first here, I suppose. And I know it's a new name now. It used to be the Revolution Bar. Now it's the Vizzy View Bar. Get there when gates open. Go up there. They have seats that are facing the field that are elevated that you could be sitting anywhere on the 100 level. You could have one of the worst seats in the 100 level. You could be sitting in, 155. You could be behind a pole, whatever. You get there, you walk up there before the game as early as you can. First come, first serve. Pop your ass in one of those seats. You're not going to want to leave. It's arguably one of the best views in the park, and highly, highly recommend it. There's also a Frank Thomas pinball machine in there, an old school Frank Thomas pinball machine from the 90s. It hasn't been plugged in. I wonder if they plugged it in this year. I don't know. Vinny, was it plugged in when you were up there?
I honestly don't recall. I went up there earlier this season, and it was because I was freezing. And so I kind of just went by the window, froze. They were losing by 6 to freaking Seattle. It was one of those types of games. It was literally like 20 degrees. It was as cold as I've ever been at Guaranteed Rate Field. So I honestly don't recall, but we're going to have to take a look when we go.
Yeah, we will. And they need to plug that back in because that is a time portal to Frank Thomas time, baby. The Big Hurt.
Yeah.
If you're there, go check out the pinball machine. He is the greatest player in team history. I agree, Vinny. But that's a little tip. They also have little food. They got food from a little bit more upscale food in there. They got kind of like chefy food, like fancy pretzels and stuff. And of course, you got that. Vinny, I haven't been up there since it's the Vizzy Bar. Do they also have beer and stuff up there still?
Yeah. There's a full bar up there. I'm not sure if they have Vizzy on tap like they did have Revolution on tap. I know some of these fancy schmancy places are able to have seltzers and stuff like that on tap now, and instead of just getting it in a can. But I'm wondering if they're just throwing out the cans of it. But yeah, the full-blown bar is still up there with the traditionals. Obviously, Guaranteed Rate Field is a Miller Lite stadium now. They got Miller Lite, all the stuff that comes from the Miller Coors company. So yeah,
Sure.
that place is awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's a little tip for your back pocket. I'll go ahead and toss to you, Vinny and Zim. I'll let you stew on it since you were only at a couple, but we did some fun stuff. But Vinny, what do you got?
Yeah, so for the White Sox game in particular, I really like Shy Sox Bar and Grill. And that place is right next to the stadium, just directly north of the stadium. You get in there, there's a lot of seats. Like I've never really had a hard time. Like, 15-minute wait for your table. Like, no, there's always it's weird because a stadium that's about to be 30,000 packed, you'd think like there'd be a little bit of a wait to sit at the dope restaurant right next door, but no. You can pretty much always walk in. They got good food. The alcohol selection is unreal. Yeah, there's 2 levels to it. The alcohol selection is unreal. It's where you'll find the most friendly of the fan base, in my opinion. You're walking in there, people are admiring whatever jersey you chose to wear that day, and everyone's, checking out what kind of food you're eating. Like, hey, those nachos look pretty good over there. Like, that guy's eating, I'm going to get those. Like, it's
and
just
Gabe's
that
in there all the time.
Yeah, that's where I met Gabe. And, I've met Gabe twice in my life, and one of the times was in Shy Sox Bar and Grill. So he likes to go in there and dummy some nachos before going in. And if Gabe likes to do something, that should make you want to do it. I really enjoy that place. And then if there's not a giveaway, right? Like, let's say there's nothing that you need to be at the front door for early before everybody else, you can leave right at the start of game time. Like, once you start hearing some fireworks, you can pay your tab and move on into the stadium really quickly, because all you got to do is exit out the north entrance and you're right next to the entrance of the stadium.
That's so
it's so convenient, and not a lot of people know about it. To me, it's the best alternative to tailgating. So that's my tip. My other tip for general baseball games in general, don't treat it like it's a big hassle to go to baseball games. I have family members who are like, they think they got to plan a baseball game like 2 months in advance, and like it's this hard thing to get there and it's going to be impossible and we're going to have so much stress. No, it's so easy. They make it easy for you. Oh, I'll throw this one out there too, because I think it's exclusive to Guaranteed Rate Field right now, and it didn't apply last year. There were those guys walking around with the vests. They went to Walmart and bought some neon colored vests, and they're selling parking to spots that aren't theirs in the apartment complexes, and they were scamming people, and this was a big problem last year. So Guaranteed Rate Field, to contradict what was going on outside the stadium, made all parking prepaid. And it kind of is an inconvenience, but at the same time, they are sparing anybody from getting scammed. If you didn't use your credit card in lot E, which is like the farthest one, or you didn't pay for it ahead of time, you are not being sold a legitimate parking spot. Don't do it. Don't fall for it like those guys who last year they got out of their car and I started smelling some stuff from their car. I'm like, I understand why these guys got scammed, And it's like, don't fall for it. It's not worth it. Prepay your parking early. It's the same price. It's convenient. You could do it from the comfort of your own home. Have your buddy in the back seat who doesn't have to worry about driving do it. The one who copped the ride off you free of charge. You're not asking them for gas, even though it's $5 something. Ask that guy to do it. Prepay your parking. I think it's a huge help.
That's a great tip, Vinny. Yeah, that's parking this year. That's a big change as of last year, and a lot of people are upset about it, but it helps with that. Don't park anywhere that looks suspicious. There's really only official lots are where you should go, and there's only one other place that I would probably trust, and that's parking at 35th Street Red Hots. Just because those guys are there and they literally watch the cars the entire time. I have no idea what they charge. They're not a sponsor. I'm just flat out saying the only places I would trust. So great call outs, Vinny. Zim, have you had enough time to stew and think of a tip?
Oh yeah, it's funny actually. I had some friends go to their first Sox games at the rate Friday. So I was actually doling out what little advice I had for them before the game. But I got to say, my favorite bit that I always remind people about is the Craft Cave. Or I know it's changed names now, but whatever it's called now, the section underneath 108 with the little craft brewery area.
The Craft Cave.
Is it still the Craft Cave? Okay. I thought it underwent.
Actually, they might have.
I thought with the Bud Light takeover.
They did. It is now called the Lining Google Craft Lodge.
That's right. The Craft Lodge. There you go, Jim.
I remember Alyssa told us, and I totally could not remember. But the Craft Lodge, then. That's my number one.
They flipped it because remember I predicted it would be the Lining Google Island, and then it was going to be the Miller Bullpen Bar again. And
yeah.
They did it. They did a little flipsy.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. But yeah, so if you're in the stadium, wander around the outfield until you get to right field and you see the L train car out in the outfield, and then you just go down into that section, and underneath that section, there's a whole bar, full service bar, and the coolest part about it, and restaurant,
I think they still have burgers, right?
They did last year.
Look.
I haven't been since last season, so. But the reason I love this little tip is because you get to watch a whole game from field level for the price of your regular admission. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And the really cool part is if you find a decent place to stand and the wait staff's in a good mood and you're not being a jerk, they'll even just bring you beer while you stand there and watch the game. They'll bring you food while you stand there and watch the game. Yeah, you got to tip them, which you don't really have to do at a lot of the other stalls. But, I mean, you should anyway, so it's kind of a wash in the end. But, yeah, it was awesome. Joe and I had a lot of fun at the game we went to.
Lance Lynn didn't.
And Joe showed me – no, he did not. And Joe showed me a lot of different parts of the park. The next day, the only part of the park I saw was the Craft Cave because I went down there and realized, wait, I can just stand here and watch a whole game? Well, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm literally 6 feet from the field. So I stood down there. Wait staff came around. They fed me beers and brats all game long. The only time I had to leave the little Craft Cave area was to use the restroom.
No diapers?
No. I don't travel with those.
You don't dabble.
But the only downside to it is you got to stand the whole time. Unless you sit inside, but hey, here's the cool part. If you sit inside, you can still see the game and it's air conditioned. So
winner chicken dinner.
That's kind of it. And there's a lot of home runs hit out that way too. So if you're into that sort of thing, you always got a chance right there.
That's it.
All them wall scrapers land right there. So
well, all great tips from the South Burbs Hitmen across the board. Dynamite stuff tonight, gentlemen. But I want to talk a little bit about what we got coming up on the Barroom Network tomorrow night. You got Dan and Aldo bare their souls. Topics for the show. Greg Gabriel recently revealed why the Chicago Bears chose Cedric Benson over Aaron Rodgers. Dan and Aldo will discuss and look back on all those Lovie Smith years. That's going to be a great show tomorrow night. Don't miss it.
Spoiler alert. It's because the Bears are stupid and a poorly run organization.
And have been since 1986.
Well, it seems like we're going to get some fun reactions from Dan and Aldo tomorrow night. I can guarantee you're not going to want to miss that. Vinny, the Stanley Cup final, the Avalanche won the cup. You guys still doing Bar Down this week to talk about it?
Yeah, Bar Down's not going anywhere. It's going to become two guys talking junk for the whole summer. No, I'm kidding. We're going to stick around all summer, but on Wednesday, we're going to recap the Stanley Cup final. I have one big guest in my back pocket that I'm waiting to reveal to the world. When I can confirm that he will be on, it will be at some point over the summer. I would love to have all you guys on. We're going to recap the Colorado Avalanche. We'll probably talk about them pretty much the whole show, stuff that went on with the cup and what it's going to mean going forward. And then you got the draft, free agency, all the summer shenanigans, stories, talking about past stuff. It's going to be a long, fruitful summer for the hockey fans. And everything does kind of die over the summer when it comes to hockey. And, I'm going to be there. So if you like hockey and you don't want it to go away, I'm your guy because Bar Down's not going anywhere. So I'm excited about what the summer is going to bring, and It's going to be some good times.
How about this week's Crosstown Crosstalk? What do you guys got on the docket?
This week's Crosstown Crosstalk is going to be a little bit inspired by one of my favorite baseball podcasts, Starting Nine. And they had a full episode last week dedicated to Shohei Ohtani. And they were talking about the intricacies of what makes Shohei Ohtani great, right? Like, so last year he was a 9-WAR player because of the fact that he was like a 4-WAR pitcher and a 5-WAR hitter, both above average, like better than all-star level stuff for pitchers and hitters. Mike Trout on average has like an 8 or 9 WAR every single year, no matter what. And Ohtani did that because he's so great at 2 positions. But like, does he deserve the MVP over someone like Aaron Judge, who just is going to probably mash 55 home runs this season? You know, I think so too. I'm of the opinion that like Ohtani, he's Dylan Cease on the mound. So like a top 5 pitcher in the American League, not number 1, but he's like top 5. And then he's Luis Robert at the plate. Not the best hitter in the league, but he's up there. Like, and you just combine both of those into one. Is that better than a Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who might have better statistics offensively, but barely, but he doesn't pitch? And he's an average for exactly. I agree with you. So like the intricacies of Shohei Ohtani and what he means, and people comparing him to Babe Ruth, even though Babe Ruth sucked. Babe Ruth is probably the most overrated old player. He led the league with 11 home runs one year. It's just crazy to me that Ohtani does what he does, and he's going to start against the White Sox on Wednesday, and he's going to face Michael Kopech. So it's going to be like this great pitching matchup between 2 guys who throw 100 and are really cool to watch. One's kind of mouthy, the other barely talks in Japanese or English, and is super polite all the time. So I enjoy that matchup. I'm very excited for Wednesday's game. And so due to the fact that I listened to this episode about Starting Nine about Ohtani and the fact that he's playing against my favorite team right now, it's like it's going to be the Shohei Ohtani episode of Crosstown Crosstalk.
I like it, man. That's going to be dynamite. Don't miss it. Tons of great stuff on the Barroom Network all week long. We had Greg Gabriel talking football. I mean, of course, you got South Burbs Hitmen right before us. We had the Double-A team. So much great content on this network. Make sure you mash that subscribe button, like us, follow us, the whole shebang. Anywhere you find podcasts, or you can watch the video version. You can look at my ugly mug for 2 hours on YouTube. So go ahead and check that out. My wife likes the way I look, so at least I got that going for me. I love you, babe.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters at the end.
Too, right?
That's true. That's true. That's very true, Vinny. It's very deep. No, I appreciate that. Huge. Got to give a huge shout out to our guest Ryan Lee tonight. Dude, absolutely brought it. Of course, you know the in-game host, him and Alyssa. They bring it every week, and Ryan was a dynamite interview. If you missed it, the live version will be on YouTube here in just a few minutes when we wrap the show. So don't miss that. Let's get the shout-outs, boys. Zim, will lead things off with you. What do you got?
Like so much stuff, but I'm going to keep it quick. Our Little League season just ended. Big shout-out to all of those kids who worked their butts off, all of their parents for helping them out. It was a very successful season for everybody. Everybody learned a lot and had a lot of fun. And I think most of, if not all of the kids are signing up to continue either baseball or softball.
That's great.
In the future, which is like so cool that they've all decided to embrace this sport and keep going forward with it. In addition, I've recently started my own softball league, which has been awesome. We're playing 12-inch, not 16-inch. 16-inch leagues are harder to find out here, and the only one I could find was like a Sunday night, and not doing that. So unfortunately, I gotta play the 12-inch softball with the gloves. Eventually, as 16-inch gets more popularized, I'm going to try to convince these guys that we should try it for a season. So we'll see how it goes. And in slightly related news, shout out to my buddy Jason, who taught me how to rehabilitate a pulled groin muscle. So that's That's about it. If you can figure out how those things are related, you are also either reaching or past 30 like myself. So
Yeah, Tim Anderson knows a thing or two about that as well.
yeah. So all right. That's about everything I've got though. Just it's been awesome. You know, I know I was away from you guys for a little while doing it, but it was an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, man, that's great.
We'll be continuing it in the fall. We'll hopefully be able to do a day that doesn't interfere with the show as much, but we'll see. I don't really get to pick those things, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes.
Is what it is. Yeah, and you know, a lot of White Sox off days on Mondays, so it's the prime day to do this show. And look at that, we had Ryan Lee today, and we're gonna have in July 18th, as of right now, if nothing changes, Jake Berger will be on the show.
Jake Berger.
Burger bomb, baby.
I'm gonna say it like that. I'm gonna say that to him at least once. I'm gonna say Jake Berger, like Donnie freaking Burger.
Oh yeah, you want some Wahlburgers?
I'm gonna laugh when you do that, and his camera just goes black, and Jake is disconnected from the conversation.
My aunt's like, you should really think about asking him, like in completely serious face, be like, do you ever consider naming your son Cheese?
I forgot he's got a couple little sliders on the way. That'll be fun.
He's definitely got one. I don't know if there's a couple. Did I miss that news? Are they having twins? Did I miss that?
No. I'm not trying to start any rumors. I kind of meant like eventually.
Ah, got it. Well, yeah, him and his wonderful fiance Ashlyn with a child on the way. Best of wishes to them. Zim, I know I cut you off your shout out. Were you finished? You got more?
Nope. That's about everything. I was rambling and trailing off anyway, so we can keep the show moving along.
Keep on shugging. Vinnie Parise, what do you got for shout outs, buddy?
Yeah, so for some pretty obvious reasons, I am going to shout out all of the women in my life. You know, it's been an interesting time, and
for sure.
You know, a level of political I get is my agenda of Tim Anderson making the All-Star game over Bo Bichette.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know, that's about my extent of my broadcasting political stuff. But, you know, for obvious reasons, I'm going to shout out all the women in my life, my girlfriend, Caitlin, my mother. I have all sorts of cousins. You know, I'm not going to name every single one of them because my big Italian family won't allow me to, because we'll be here for another hour. But, you know, I'd like to have a daughter one day. Joe, I know you already have a daughter. Zim, Joe, I know you guys got girlfriends, fiancés, wives, Gonzo. Everybody has women in their life that they care about and respect. And I think at this point in time, it's very important for us guys to kind of like have their backs and, you know, appreciate what they want and need in life. And, you know, I think now is a great time to give a shout out to all the women that, you know, have helped me get to where I am right now, because I wouldn't be there without you. So women bring us into this world. We all know they could take us out. And you know, that's kind of the whole thing for me. So shout out to all the women in my life. I love you guys very much. You have my full support always.
Awesome. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, Vinny. Thank you for that. Shout out to all the ladies out there. I would lead off my shout out with a shout out to my buddy Vinnie Parise. Thank you for grabbing me this bobblehead on the other day. You dropped it off to my mom's bar. I really, really, really appreciate it, man. And you had 2 big games there at the park. You had a fun weekend. I really appreciate you doing that for me, man.
Oh, no problem. It was a no-brainer for me. When I realized I had an extra one, it was a no-brainer on what to do with it. And my arm's still kind of hurt from spending so much time. I look Mediterranean now. But, yeah, it was a good weekend at the ballpark. So I hope you enjoyed it. I don't have mine with me right now. Mine's at my parents' house. But, you know, I'll probably bring it on the show soon enough. I want to show that.
I'll probably open it next week. Yeah, I was going to do it today, and I forgot. It's a big boy. It's a big boy for sure.
It is the best bobblehead the White Sox have ever given out. And I'm saying that as a guy who likes memorabilia, and, you know, you slap that White Sox logo on like a pen and I'm going to think it's the coolest thing ever. But like that bobblehead, legitimately, it's like the Lucas Giolito in the X-Wing suit. Because I like Star Wars, but like, Liam Hendricks, that one was cool. The Tim Anderson, like that one was up there, but this one, the fact that there's two, it's just so sweet. So
hang on, I'm gonna grab it now. I got both of them there.
There you go. Yep, Liam Hendricks, Tim Anderson. I went to the Tim Anderson game, and I missed it by like 10 people. Literally, I can see people getting it in my vision, and I didn't. That was tough.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's all good.
But Vinny, big shout out to you, man. I appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to the fine folks at Marconi Foods. We got a care package today at my house from them. A box full of Jardinere and all the good stuff, and a giant thing of extra olive oil. If you don't know Marconi Foods from the Chicagoland area, I don't know where you live, because they make fantastic Jardinere. They have great banana peppers. They make red sauce, arrabbiata sauce, you name it. We'd love to work more with Marconi Foods. Just because they sent the box, I think maybe next week we're going to do a Marconi segment of some sort, just because we can show them what they'll get if they partner with us. And they send us a lot of stuff. So thank you, Marconi Foods. Wow. I have enough Jardinere and olive oil to last me into the moon, and I am very happy about it. I'm going to bring some to Vinny when him and I, spoiler alert, are going to the Sox game with Joey on July 7th. I'll bring some hot Jardinere. Everything they sent was hot, so it's going to be hot. So Vinny likes hot. I know that. So thank you to the fine folks at Marconi. I want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, Catherine, our beautiful baby girl, Audrey, of course, my Great Dane, Maverick. And just like you, Vinny, I want to shout out my mom this week. I love you, Mom, and all the moms in the world, including my mother-in-law. Appreciate you guys. And, of course, the wonderful chat room, which was very active tonight. Everyone was excited for Ryan Lee. Ton of fun. And here we are. We're at the 2 hour and 6-minute mark. We are done here with the South Burbs Hitmen. We're getting ready to roll that curtain and get out of here. Vinny, I just got to ask, before we get out, did you watch the finale to Obi-Wan?
I sure did. It was wonderful. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, it was some of the best stuff I've seen in a long time, and I'm getting all fuzzy just thinking about it. So I just had to get your thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Fantastic stuff. We're Star Wars nerds. I've got literally a Star Wars pinball machine in the corner behind me. There you go.
Hell yeah.
I'm a nerd, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Living the dream. But gentlemen,
I play video games. I like Pokemon. Zim loves Pokemon. Zim's setting up like 6 computers that have cool lights and stuff. Like, I'm like a combination of you two is basically what I am. So you're both on different spectrums of the nerd scale. And then there's me, who's just both of you.
You want to show off some nerd stuff? I don't know if I can get it in the shot. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, let's go.
You got any chim Pokemon? Me? It's my cheesy poot, man. Man. Now we're going in the South Park. This is the show that just keeps on giving, guys.
Hey, man, Casa Bonita is going to reopen any day now.
Casa Bonita.
That's right.
Casa Bonita.
Zim, you're not far from Casa Bonita, right?
No, I was actually just over in the neighborhood this weekend. It's looking very pink and phallic.
There you go. Well, your parents' place isn't too far from there, and I know they know a thing or two about Jardinere.
Oh yeah, but we don't use Marconi. I'm trying to remember who they use. One of the other, 3 legitimate suppliers. There's not many out there.
I love Jard. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Jardinere pizza, a pizza with Jardinere and beef on it, like from Phil's. Or just pizza with Jardinere, or just Jardinere in general.
Italian sausage and Jardinere.
Yep. They even sent a muffaletta over. I even got some of the relish kind. I mean,
I love
the fine folks at Marconi really did it up for us, so we appreciate it.
Well, I know where we're having a barbecue next time we're on the South Side.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Lots of Jardinere to go around, and who knows? Maybe we'll give away some of the Marconi stuff.
There you go.
I mean, we'll have to do it if you're going to be at the game on July 7th because it's going to be quite a hefty package to ship. But, well, they shipped it to me. I mean, that package was heavy, man. The UPS man, I saw the video on my ring. He's like, oh.
That's funny.
But, yeah, we had it all in the show. We had Ryan Lee. We had Zim being hilarious. We had Vinny being passionate. And you had me just doing whatever it is that I do on this show. We appreciate all you
podcasts in the world.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, you're kind of getting carried away there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll take the compliment though. I'm
Steve's
not gonna lie.
Steve's
oh yeah, take that one to the bank, man. Run with it.
That's funny.
That's all right, guys. Anyway, I dragged out the close, but that's okay. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Reminder, we are taking the week off on the 4th of July. There is no show next week. We shall return, though. I'm looking at my calendar because I can't think. If you think I could do math in my head, but I sure can't. We'll be back on July 11th. We don't have a guest yet, but I will announce it on Twitter when we do. What I can tell you, though, is the week after, July 18th, Jake Berger is going to be on the show. Oh, my gosh.
Can't wait.
Don't miss that. It's going to be fun. But anyway, thank you for tuning in for the South Burbs Hitmen. Man, I'm sorry, I had to burp. For the South Burbs Hitmen, I'm Joe Mandel. That's Steven Zim Zimmerman. Below me, that's Vinnie Parise. And in my little pocket here is Chris Gonzalez. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Let's go, White Sox. Let's get above 500. Let's make that push. Let's get the dub tonight. Let's go, White Sox.